For hundreds of years, men and women have been assigned roles within household and societal dynamics. Many people seem to think that these roles are just the traditional ways in which men and women should act, when in reality, these roles are outdated and restrict human potential overall. Today, I want to focus on the negative ways that men and women have been impacted in the past because of gender roles. Gender roles really are just a social construct. When you look at other cultures around the world, such as the Mosuo people of China, their societies run as a matriarchy. There is no real science behind men being leaders of society and women staying home. In fact, studies have shown that companies with more women in leading positions outperform companies with men in leading positions. It is also shown that children with both parents present display healthier habits and mental health than those with only one parent present. And this is not to compare men and women, but to show that gender stereotyping has been created strictly by society. And because of these gender roles, there's a stigma that men shouldn't show emotion or they shouldn't cry. Traditional beliefs are that men should be stoic, strong, and showing no emotion. So when men do show emotion, toxic masculinity is being enforced by shaming the men who choose to be openly emotional. When you look at the effects of this on society, there are obvious unhealthy patterns that are created, such as aggression and emotional detachment. This can affect relationships, friendships, and even the workplace. It could even be the cause for the suicide rate in men, which is 4 times higher than the women's suicide rate. Toxic masculinity shows up in many ways and creates a number of issues. It encourages a male-dominated society by glorifying control and dominance. It puts pressure on men to be the breadwinners of the household because men are known to be protectors and providers. If men don't have a job that makes a lot of money, they're seen as failures by society due to these gender stereotypes. It limits the ability for men to choose a different path, such as being a stay-at-home dad or having a job that doesn't make a lot of money. Sam Smethers from the Fawcett Society, which is a British charity promoting women's rights, said, "Gender stereotypes hold us all back. We have boys who cannot express their emotions, become aggressive, underachieve at school, and go on to be part of a culture of toxic masculinity, which normalizes violence. We have girls who have low self-esteem and issues with their body image, with 1 in 5 14-year-old girls self-harming. We have a heavily segregated labor market where just 8% of STEM apprentices are women. Gender stereotyping is all at the root of this." Next, I've included a clip off of TikTok that I think does a good job of showing how much gender stereotypes are deeply rooted into our society. It is kind of long, but I do think the whole thing is entertaining and worth watching.
Let's take a quick look at some of the things in the grocery store that are marketed to men and uphold traditional gender roles or ideas around what men should like. You ready?
Subtle example here, built to clear, build up, and maintain order. Superior grade.
We've got the word defense a ton. Daily defense. Got a burly guy with an axe. Not for clowns, right? So if you're not a real man that uses an axe, or you're a clown, you can't have this product. Bourbon, alcohol, bourbon, whiskey, flavored oils, and things like that. And then we've got bloody knuckles. Don't worry, brother. It's not girly to put things on your hands. And you're still tough because you got the bloody knuckles. Bloody knuckles. Look, these cool, tough fighting guys. Don't worry, bro. If you want to scrub and be clean, it's still manly. It's tactical. This scrubber is tactical. Don't worry, dude. You're not going to have a beta soy boy color. Only aluminum chassis gunmetal gray. Tough forest green. Yeah, smell like a real man. Pine tar. Or like a castaway. A coconut's a little girly, so castaway, make it masculine. Castaway, because you're a tough sailor that was cast away. Rainforest rapids. There are dangerous rapids, so it's not just enjoying the rainforest because it's beautiful, but there are dangerous rapids that.
Now, I'm not judging you if you like these brands or if you buy some of these products. What I am saying is that we all need to be more conscientious about how the things that are marketed to us influence the way that we think about the world. For example, if we have a bunch of these products that are only in olive and gray and navy and blue, and these are all the masculine products with sawtooth, wolf's bane, dual metal chassis, bourbon whiskey flavor and scent, like, it's designed to say, well, those are the boy colors. That's what men should wear and use. This is the acceptable realm with which men can have moisturizer, can have beard oils. And a lot of us don't think twice about it. We're just like, okay, I guess I'll get the gray the gray crop product or the olive product because that's the one that looks like it's for men, right? And we just accept that. And I think that it's ridiculous, and it affects us way more deeply than we care to admit and understand. And so once you start to be conscientious about this and unlearn some of these conditionings, you have a much more awesome life. Like everything, because the world becomes your oyster, and you can just get whatever the hell you want, whatever you need, rather than what you think you have to have because of your gender. So yeah, liberate yourselves, friends.
Now, women are also harmed by strict gender roles that create unrealistic expectations for how they should live their lives. Society often expects women to take on the role of caregiver, homemaker, and nurturer, even if that's not what they want for themselves. These expectations can limit women's opportunities in education and careers, since they may feel pressured to give up on personal goals for their domestic duties. Gender roles also push women into lower-paying jobs or fields considered more feminine, which contributes to the gender pay gap and keeps women underrepresented in areas like science and technology. And yes, the gender pay gap is still a thing, and it is decreasing, but don't you still find it crazy that women only make 88 cents for every dollar that a man makes? The Equal Pay Act of 1963 was passed over 60 years ago, and still, the pay gap has not been closed. The Center for American Progress did an analysis and concluded that it would take another 30 years for the pay gap to be gone. That is only if it goes down by the same rate every year. Beyond work, women face constant pressure to look a certain way or fit into the image of the ideal wife and mother, which can cause low self-esteem and body image issues. In many cases, women who step outside of these traditional roles may even face criticism, discrimination, or violence. In a recent study, women were more likely than men to report gender nonconformity-related violence and discrimination. I think it's important to note that women are getting married later and having kids later in life. And I believe that is due to the fact that women are able to become more financially stable since women now make up 50% of the workforce. The age that women are having children is increasing because women now have the option of going to work and staying single when originally it was thought that a woman's sole purpose in society was to have children and to be a wife. A lot of what I've discussed so far is making progress in society, but there's still a lot of work to be done. There are thousands of ads and commercials that I could point out from the 20th century that are clear examples of gender stereotyping, but you and I both know that gender roles were huge back then. But even now there are certain companies that have put out commercials and advertisements that are misogynistic. For example, this Mr. Clean Mother's Day advertisement. This ad insinuates that the only job a mother is really good for is cleaning. This ad does not at all send a warm Mother's Day message to all the moms out there. It's very degrading and confining. There's another modern example that was published by Bic. The ad reads, "Look like a girl, act like a lady, think like a man, work like a boss." The brand writes the line, "Think like a man," which insinuates that in order to be successful you have to think like a man because only men are intelligent and that women must imitate men in order to become successful, while of course still maintaining attractive good looks and acting like a lady. The saddest part about this ad is that it was published for Women's Day. This ad is just very offensive, insulting, and again, degrading to women. And you would think that by 2025 things would be a lot better, but ads like these are straight examples of why gender roles have lasted this long. All of the information I've just provided barely even touches the surface of why gender stereotyping is harmful, but you get the point. The moral of the story is that people should just be able to live their lives exactly how they want to, regardless of their gender. We're all better off without the outdated expectations of who we should and shouldn't be. Anyway, thank you for listening to my arguments on why gender roles do not benefit anyone.